Good evening. We will call this Tuesday, February the 15th, 2022, 6 p.m. Board of Commissioners Legislative Meeting to order. Before I begin, Board of Commissioners, I would like to start with roll call. District 1 Commissioner Henry Mitchell III.
Present.
District 2 and Vice Chairman Kelly Robinson.
Present.
District 3 Commissioner Terenia Carthen.
Present.
District 4 Commissioner Ann Jones-Guider.
Present.
Ramona Jackson-Jones, Chairman, present. Board of Commissioners, we do have a quorum. Board of Commissioners, tonight we have with us our own Rick Martin, who will lead us in invocation, and after the invocation, I ask that you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and also the citizens of Douglas County as well. Thank you, Director Martin.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, staff, County Attorney. Let us bow our heads. Our Heavenly Father, who art in heaven, thank you for this day that you've brought to us. Thank you for your love, your compassion, and support. We ask that you look after our elected officials as they go through the agenda for the evening. Help them with wisdom in making the decisions that are necessary to look after our county. Thank you for the blessings of a growing county, for the diversity of the community that shares its mind and thoughts and loving support. Those who may not offer the love that is available, we ask that you look after and take care of them as well. For tonight's evening meeting, we ask that you be in the presence and the mind of all who are here and who are watching. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Communications Director Rick Martin, for rendering invocation for us today. Thank you. It was well said and much needed for our county as we continue to go forward. Board of Commissioners, certainly Clerk, I want to tap you and see if there is anyone who signed up for public comment tonight.
Yes, ma'am. We have one citizen, Ms.
Okay.
Sharon Bachtel.
Okay. Ms. Bachtel, please come forward, and when you please, if you could just restate your name and give us your address, and your subject matter, I know, is germane to the agenda.
Hi, Sharon Bachtel, 6331 South Skyline Drive, District 3. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I would like to talk about two agenda items, 6 and 7. Why are we wasting tax dollars on advertising the bus system with Collaborative Firm? We have paid them thousands of dollars for what? Has bus ridership increased in the past 4 years? Pre-pandemic, the average ridership was only 100. Now the average ridership is 50. Route 30 ridership has averaged only 3 riders all 4 years with no increase. It doesn't look like Collaborative Firm has been effective in increasing ridership. This is a far cry from the 1,000 riders you were expecting 5 years ago, according to your transportation study. Why can't the Connect Douglas department place their own ads or set up tables at events to hand out information? The sheriff educates online and at events. This is a good way for county officials to meet the public. This county pays for a communication department that is quite successful in educating. I must have seen the ad for how to do business in Douglas County 100 times on my news feed on Facebook. Douglas County Happenings is an excellent at communicating and advertising. If you defend the performance of Collaborative Firm, then you will have to admit that the fixed route bus system is not working for this county. Spending $2 million a year on 100 riders is a waste of money. Spending $2 million on 50 riders is a bigger waste of money. And yes, we pay federal and state tax too. Maybe it's time to look into the dial-a-ride system, which would give transportation to all Douglas County residents, not just 2 districts. Will a collaborative firm be more successful at advertising SPLOST? If you go by the record with Douglas County Connect, maybe not. An article in the AJC about collaborative firm has come to my attention. It is dated May 11th, 2021 by Zachary Hansen. The first line says, oversight is a hot topic in Stonecrest where a recent investigation found evidence city employees mismanaged $6.2 million in federal COVID relief funds. 8 employees contracted through a third-party staffing company were fired. At the end of the article, it states that 3 of those who were fired amid the CARES Act investigation were Jacobs subcontractors. All 3 were employed by Collaborative Firm, a company established by Michael Hightower and assigned to Stonecrest by Jacobs. Should the county do business with a company that does not produce results? Can the county trust doing business with a company that has hired such unsavory employees as recently as May of last year? I say vote no to any contracts to Collaborative Firm. It is a waste of our tax dollars. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Batchel. Appreciate you coming in today stating your case. And thank you for reiterating a COVID-19 crisis that we have all over the nation. So ridership is down all over the country, and me and you can discuss that offline. Board of Commissioners, we're going to move right into the approval of our minutes. You have before you the commission meeting minutes of February 1st, 2022, work session minutes of January 31st, 2022, and the executive session minutes of January 31st, 2022. Are there any additions or deletions or corrections that need to be made?
No, ma'am.
Being none, the minutes stand approved. We're going to move to new business, tab number 4, authorization to accept the Georgia Public Safety and Law Enforcement Supplement Grant in the amount of $532,687.50 and amend the budget and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Board of Commissioners, we added this item the last minute, and it's very important, and I appreciate you all allowing this to come forth. And we have our ACA, our Assistant County Administrator, here to discuss it briefly with us.
Thank you, Chairman Jones, Board of Commissioners, Deputy County Administrator Fred Perry. So we just got the approval yesterday from Georgia Cares that we received the $532,000 and odd dollars. This is the first responder grant. This money will be going directly to our public safety officers in an amount of $1,000 apiece. They have been anxiously awaiting, so we didn't want them to have to wait, any longer than they had to. So we're asking to accept the grant. I would like to commend Jill Hobson, who is our grants manager, who worked very diligently with the departments, as well as Director Miller and her finance team for getting all the information. We were one of the few counties who got our information and it wasn't returned, and that is a big deal because they had a lot of that. So I really have to commend them for working diligently and making sure that our first responders got what they deserved. So that's all I have.
All right. Thank you so much for explaining to the board what this is before I call for a motion. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to authorize and to accept the Georgia Public Safety and Law Enforcement Supplement Grant in the amount of $532,687.50 and amend our budget and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents?
So moved.
Second.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes.
What this is again?
Okay, I saw Mr. Pumphrey here. If you could come forth right quick and just make sure if we could provide the board with some insight before we cast our votes.
I just want to, he still got to say it.
Good evening, Board Commissioners.
Good evening.
Chris Pumphrey, Development Authority of Douglas County. Yes, what you all are considering tonight is the resolution to adopt the form of the development agreement that is for any project that is looking to receive TAD grant proceeds within the Lee Road TAD number 1 district. Sorry, it's a lot in there. So any developer that's looking to receive those proceeds In order to receive those, there has to be a fully executed development agreement. And so basically what this is doing is basically providing the template of what those development agreements should be built upon, and then negotiation happens between the county development authority and the developer, being the end user that would be receiving the TAG grant proceeds. Any further questions on that?
Any questions, Board?
Yes.
Okay, Vice Chairman Robinson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. All right, so again, one more time for the record. The TAG was approved by the public, what, last year, Chris?
It was
The authority?
the redevelopment powers were approved in November of 2020.
2020. And prior to that, we had a master plan, and this is primarily District 2, so use my home rule moment to say that this was something, this concept, this area had immense and major input and citizen engagement from the residents. Chris, what were the elements that the citizens said they needed me to advocate for them on behalf? Can you weigh in on that? And if Allison is here, somebody, can y'all, I got to get this for the record.
Sure. The general gist of it was that the citizens wanted the development to encompass a number of things. They wanted walkability to be incorporated into the development. They wanted restaurants, the opportunity to get out, and enjoy themselves, so some passive space. They wanted, they've always stated that they wanted more job opportunities for things that they do not have to leave the county to go to work at. And so those are kind of the base elements of what they called for in that plan. And so the overall plan consisted of those things. It identified government facilities that could be located on site, and it identified office space. It identified other public amenities, a lot of trails and parks and what have you throughout the entire plan.
Okay, so I'll be clear, I'll make sure I've heard it, but I've read it, but institutional was a word that was used by the citizens that was captured. Office, retail, commercial, light industrial. Did I get them?
Not light industrial.
Not light industrial. What do we call the studio? What do you call that?
I'm not really sure what exactly it was zoned as. I think it was some type of heavy commercial.
Okay, heavy commercial. All right, fair enough, big warehouse. All right, I'm making my point as these development authority deals are somewhat complex, and they I hate to say it tends to have different layers of decision-making along the way. And what I'm understanding, and Madam Guy just reminded me, this is just for the forum, right? To structure how everybody who comes along will be involved in this. Is that correct?
Correct.
This is not a moment of asking for money, correct?
Correct.
All right. This is not a commitment to any type of building or anything of that nature. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. What we're doing here is that, now I know embedded in all this, there is a conversation for that the Lee Road extension, which is one of the #1 priorities involved in the county, that was stated to our congressional leaders as being a priority, especially in economic development, especially even during our strategic planning process. I know that you have gone down the path, at least framed for the Board of Commissioners, parcels that were bought, right? So it's been framed by parcels. This has been a very public conversation. Yes, the board is not committed to any one thing per se as it relates to public facilities, but it's important to say that to my citizens. But it was important that your voice was recognized. There's nothing that I've ever done in 14 years that I do not recognize my citizens' voice. That was part of the master planning process. It will not be erased. You can't marginalize the citizens' voice. Now, the board can choose not to build a certain type of facility, but to say that my citizens don't have their voice recognized is just not going to work for me. And I think that's important here. I had to clear the air because there's something, it's like, okay, wait, what are we doing? I mean, this is economic development. We just did one out in District 4. I know we probably got one in District 1 coming up soon. I know they're next on the list in District 3. I mean, this is important. This character area, the District 2. Now, everybody else got their own character area. and how they see what's important. But this right here is something that District 2 has really weighed in on. They're looking forward to it. So I wanted to make sure I understood what this was about. I wanted to clarify. I had to leave yesterday. I didn't get to finish the conversation and what happened in executive session. So it was important that I had to weigh in my point. Last thing, and I'll make my comment, is will we have another chance to weigh in on any specific element of this?
Of this particular agenda
On this
item or
project?
the
Right, so let me ask you
Oh,
this.
yeah.
This is about policies and procedures, right? The Development Authority will apply against all people who come in?
Yes, yeah, so basically, every company that is looking to receive TAD proceeds, so it's not for every company that goes into the district, but just those that are looking to receive proceeds from the
Understand.
from
All
the
right.
district.
So this is pending legal review, Madam Chair, or are we done with legal review?
This is, subject to final legal review.
All right, thank you. The reason I brought that up is that one of the provisions I thought was important is, again, I'm going to go back to compliance. I'm going to deal with program management in a minute, but oversight and making sure that the TAD realizes what it's intended to do. So Attorney Coleman, I know I brought that up. I want to bring it up one more time just to ensure if the board chooses to move this forward, to ensure that language is in there. Oh, you the other way?
Understood.
Oh, you moved?
Understood.
Okay, my bad.
Understood, Vice Chair. We can certainly add more language to that effect there.
As long as it's been acknowledged, you don't have to do anything above and beyond. That was just something I thought was important as we all
Understood.
contributed to the conversation. Okay.
Understood. We can add language similar to what we have in the IGA there.
Okay, great, thank you. Madam Chair, I yield.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Pumphrey. Board of Commissioners, you've heard all the answers and responses from our Chris Pumphrey. Do we have a motion to approve the form development agreement for the Lee Road area TAD 1, subject to final?
Madam Chair, you're already down there. Call the
Oh,
question.
I'm already in there. Okay, we have a motion and a second. We've had our discussion. Please cast your votes. Thank you. Oh, went on for a while, I'm sorry. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, Board of Commissioners, and the motion carries. We're going to move on to tab number 6, which is approval of agreement with the collaborative firm LLC to initiate public engagement for potential splost in November in the total amount of $175,000 and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Commissioner Guider?
Yes, yesterday, this was on the agenda in the combined with number 7, and there was no money on there whatsoever. And so I had written down 155 for the splosh, but we were virtual.
Yes, ma'am. So it was $155,000 will be going directly to the collaborative firm for their efforts, and then $20,000 will be for any other direct costs that they have in promoting the SPLOST.
Well, why wasn't it on there yesterday?
Why wasn't
It's
the
changed since yesterday.
No, I think we did not put the amount, and I apologize to the board for that. However, when I did my presentation, I did state that it was $150 for the amount, and then $20.
So a $175 new contract is not being bid out. Why?
So we did take a look, and in my talks with Attorney Coleman, at the procurement policy that was passed and took effect on January 1st, 2022. And there is a provision that allows the board to award these professional services contract at their discretion. And so that is an option.
This is not special. It's a marketing contract. Mrs. Backwell, when she was talking, she even said we could probably do it, and I think we can too, just by putting out brochures, because this is an educational thing about what a splosh is. We already have a splosh. Most people already know that. We've had sploshes in the past, but we can't push anything, and I see no reason why in the world we would pay $175 to educate the public about what a splosh is, because we can't use tax dollars to advocate what we want in the splosh or push it. We can't do that. But we can educate them as to what a splosh is all about and all this. But we can put pamphlets out on the buses. We can put pamphlets out at all the festivals that we have. We have plenty of time. This is not special. As Mr. Hightower said yesterday, there were 4 other people that bid in the first place. And by the way, he said it was $100,000 back in 2008. I looked it up. It was $50,000. It was $50,000. It was renewed the next year for $50,000, and then all of a sudden it went up to $100,000 without anybody. We just thought it was a continuation, but it changed in the meantime, and now it's $100,000 again. Never been bid out. So that's on the buses. On the buses is what I'm talking about. But he already does the buses. He's involved with VHB as on their team to do whatever it is for them, and that was a huge contract. But this just puts a shadow over this county. We are better than this. We cannot just give away contracts to our favorite vendors, and we need to veer away from this. This needs to be bid out for the sake of just our integrity on this board. And so I object to this highly. And where's the procurement committee? Have they not looked at this at all? But anyway, I guess because I'm addressing the procurement chairman, she can, I'll yield to her, Madam Chair.
Okay. Commissioner Carthen, as the procurement chair.
May I take it?
Oh,
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to answer Commissioner from the 4th District's question, this is professional services, and we do, I think we all passed that vote. It was a majority, and so since this is professional services, and this is special in that we're trying to educate the public on exactly what we did with the last SPLOS, which is vitally important. A lot of people don't even know how we're doing things. I see things on Facebook, Commissioner, and they were thinking that we're taking funds from the general public to do certain things that we're doing. They don't even know that this is a 1-cent penny option sales tax that is really doing capital projects that are contributing to the roads, that are actually these funds that are going into the park system, into our fire, EMS, 911. A lot of people don't know these things, and so we do need someone that's going to educate the public. And not only that, Collaborative Firm has had a stellar reputation while working with Douglas County, inasmuch as they have actually put us on the map with apps and everything else for Connect Douglas. So for us, why not use the Collaborative Firm? They've done such a great job. And again, they've not held this contract for 5 years. I know vendors who we saw today who held 17 and 18-year contracts. And when those contracts were bidded out, you said nothing about them now getting a contract that they weren't even fully awarded. So I just wonder, why be in an uproar about this that's educating the public when we're giving a almost over $300,000 contract to someone who's only providing a small service to us, and that was not bidded out. And I was adamantly opposed to doing that, yet this board still decided that it would do it. So I do understand when we have our opinions of things, but as a board, we must go what the majority says. And in this instance, our policy upholds this. In this instance, the body of work upholds this. And in this instance, as the procurement chairman, I uphold this. And with that, Madam Chair, I yield.
So, Madam Chair, may I respond to her?
I'll post you next.
We have Vice Chairman next, and then, of course, you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't want to belabor this in a tit for tat. Sometimes you just got to take a position. But I want to address some of the public comment. I weighed in on this. This came for us in the Transportation Committee.
I know.
All right, so it's important that we lay where it lays. They've done a phenomenal job. Don't do that. Our staff cannot do that internally. That's false. Now we're perpetrating in our narrative. No, they can't. No more than our staff can deliver program management. No, they can't. Right, so this, yes I can, that keeps you in a marginalized position. Like, no, it's not the standard, right? It's not excellent. Let me go get somebody who can get some stuff done. Now okay, you can blame the pandemic because the numbers are low. Okay, I guess it's fair. Pandemic happened. Y'all don't even want to be here anyway. But we get it. But here's the thing, citizens pay taxes. I don't care if they paid $1, a penny, or $100. The person who paid a penny is going to get their tax dollars worth, period. Their taxes are not marginalized, subordinated, inferior to anybody else. So I'll give voice to the voiceless. I'll give voice to those people that do appreciate that system coming around. I do appreciate our partners that are going to go out there and ensure the education out there. The problem I have right now is that sometimes we live in a bubble. And we communicate in our own little world. We don't see that there's a lot of people around here that they're not even connected like that. Live in a bubble, right? So it's important that you get out there. I got seniors right now that are calling on the golden years. We got to come see them. The very lady that gave me the idea for the buses, it's like, okay, I haven't heard, like, the very lady, back in 09, I said, no, not yet. Not yet, we're not ready. In 09, we weren't ready for the bus system, but 09, out the gate. No, hold on. 15, it came, went, board went forth, etc. There's a need. The feds are spotting this. Stop with the fake narrative, get the numbers right. The feds are carrying this right now. They buy us this time. We're coming at the end of 3 years, but you still have a need. That's just an argument to say, well, just don't spend money on it. I want you to spend on my friends over here in the fire, or my friends over here. We're gonna sit here and have this conversation. I won't go through this for the next 2.5 years. But I can. Every time you bring something up like that, that is false. I will check it, because you're not being honest and genuine in your narrative about being informed. As it relates to engagement, I think engagement is important. Now, my provision for this in transportation, Madam Chair, and I know for the record, I said I wanted to make sure that it's really about also getting citizens' input. That's how we did it last time. We're not dealing them their hand. We're saying, hey, here's where we're coming at. Yes, we just spent, what, $600,000 on CTP? How are you going to fund $773 million worth of road work? How are you going to fund these capital projects that you got on the list that you haven't taken care of over years? It's fake, it's phony. It's like, okay, it wouldn't make me pause, but I'm just, okay, I'll let y'all hang. Y'all can deal with this later. We gotta get some work done. Get some work done. This SPLOST is road. Nothing about this SPLOST can be challenged. It's road. Communication, solid. But yet, I'm gonna pick on it, they over here do, like, okay, really? It's like, but to the citizens who do ride that bus, don't have no fear. Nobody gets to bully you on some narrative to try to say that you're not worth it. You need to do something else with, listen to what's being spoken, the spirit of that. I have to rebuke it. It doesn't sit well with me. Not advocate for citizens. There is no marginalization. Doesn't matter. I don't use the jail. I go out there every now and then and see my priorities is, and I'll be right back. How you do this job and do it effectively. Go hear what the citizens got to say. And they'll let you know if they want you to come back or not. I'm just saying, man, I just had to weigh in on that because I think that was important. So one of the things on this particular contract is that it wasn't just about educating them on the SPLOST alone. That's too narrow. That would be a waste alone. It's to engage the citizens about, okay, now we came through this thing now. There's some unfinished business things that we haven't done. There's things on that capital improvement project list all day long. Library, admin, go down that list that we have vetted and validated for 2 straight years. Don't get convenient. You got a fleet building that burned down. How you gonna pay for it? We done ran out of space out of here. I got a chief judge coming at us like, okay, here's my new needs over the next 10 years. How you gonna accommodate that? Act like we know what we're doing. Act like real leaders that we know how to do strategic planning, we know how to execute on that. Some of these conversations like, okay, well, these gonna make me pause, but here's the bigger picture here. It's about leadership. We're really trying to get work done on behalf of the citizens and listening to them. But to marginalize one for the other, I mean, just come up with a better narrative. I'm okay with the no. I'm okay with the difference. I just don't like the marginalization of other citizens to put them down. That I have a problem with. That's the only reason you'll get me to rile up. Like, what now? I mean, we're not that, I mean, shouldn't we become so articulate? We can't come up with a narrative that doesn't have to focus on the process of not the citizens that, like, listen to that. We're neighbors. This ain't Russia and Ukraine. We're in District 1, District 2, District 3, District 4. What am I missing here? The sharpness of the narrative is just, it's tough. Oh, you're right, I'm Jim, forgot you had to go. I'm trying to go use the floor. I'm sorry about that. My bad.
Okay. Commissioner
I
Guida.
forgot what we were talking about. Anyway, when I was first elected commissioner, and I went to the class for the first time, the first thing they really emphasized was that if it appeared to be or perceived to be illegal, or if it perceived to be under the table or anything like that, fix it before you bring it to the public. In other words, if it looks like you're just playing favoritism with your friends and just awarding contracts, large contracts to them, then put it out to bid. That's all I'm asking. We should put it out to bid. Now, Commissioner Carthen mentioned that this was professional services. Well, what is it, professional services? So does that mean we don't have to bid anything out from here on out? This is not a proprietary software package. This is not a custom anything. This is marketing. There were 5 firms that bid the first time when it was $50,000 for the buses. So I'm sure we've got 4 other firms out there. Give them a chance. They may be a minority firm. Who knows? We need to we just need to see how this looks to the public. It perceives like we're doing favoritism. We're giving away contracts now, just giving away contracts. This is wrong. It could go before the Ethics Commission. I don't know. This just stinks to high heaven. But when we passed the 2016 SPLOST, it was handled by the private sector because the county cannot spend tax dollars to advocate for it. He just gave a big speech about it on the air using county facilities to do so. We can't advocate for it. The citizens are supposed to advocate for it, and they're supposed to push for it. So we need to look at this very closely. We're teetering on something that I don't think we want to go there. So with that, I yield back.
Okay, thank you so much, Commissioner. Any other input? We have a motion and a second on the floor. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important that you have one firm that perhaps in 155 years got 3-year contract in a row. And I just can't sit here in good conscience like, okay, really? One minority firm has 3 years in a row. And y'all have run a Boston for 155 years. And hearing I had to figure out how the rule game played here. You bid nothing out. You roll your friends with no impunity. Y'all don't really want to open this up now? Or we can go long. I remember everybody and everything. Everybody, existing and past. So the fake narrative that you put forth one more time, I mean, it's slighted. It's okay. It leans like it leans. It's always good to have both sides of the equation now. I mean, it's no need for me to go down that list because that's not really what it's about. Because at the end of the day, just take a position. We're very clear on this. It's engagement. This is nothing new. We know that marketing, that yeah, those guys go get your friends over how they do it on the people out of the community chamber. They will do what they do like they've always done. This is my third spouse. This ain't new to me. And so I'm listening to this. I think, okay, ease up on the narrative, y'all. Because, you know, it goes both ways. That's the thing, like, okay, you really want that? If you create it, it's called cause and effect. And that's what I'm saying. Let's balance this out. Everybody made their point. And again, please be emphatic. Please be impassioned about your beliefs. Let's just watch how we talk about people. And we talk about ethics. Well, I can grab half to it. You don't want that. Because then you know you believe that you're above everybody else. And that I have a problem with. I'll put that mirror on you real fast. Right? It's like, all right, ease that up now. That's self-righteousness. It's unwarranted right now at this point. We're just trying to get something done. You got to find something. We're doing an excellent job on the spots. They're doing a marvelous job. We can't give them no credit. You just got to find something like, okay, I'm trying to make like it's this. Like, okay, really? That's not the spirit of the county. And yes, we're doing better than we have done in the past. And I got receipts long on that one, on the performance of this leadership group. I'm just saying, let's, again, you want to bring it? We can have this type of conversation. I'm just saying, you may not want to do this. All right, Chair, you.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. We have a motion and a second. Please prepare.
Madam Chair, I think you need to call anybody down that tries to threaten another commissioner. And that sounded very much like a threat.
Well, Commissioner,
You're back.
I didn't hear a threat. I heard a discussion between
Well, you're
all
not
of you.
listening if you didn't hear it. He's trying to threaten somebody, namely me.
Well, let me just say this, Commissioners. There will be no personal attacks. And y'all just, I heard the voice is still moderate, no loud shouting. But certainly I will make sure that I keen in. There will be no personal attacks, Board, period. We have a motion and a second on the floor. Please prepare to cast your votes and take a position. We have a 4-1 vote and the motion carries.
Who abstained?
What, did we have an abstain or did we have? No abstain.
Oh, okay.
It was
That's all right.
4-1 vote and the motion carried.
Yeah, Madam Chair, and please, duly noted as far as decorum. Yes, we do get heightened intense, and if anybody believes I was threatening, it wasn't a threat. I just would meet the person with the force that they bring it. It's not a threat. I don't threaten anybody. I'm just sitting here. I can debate anybody all day long and dismantle any argument. Now, if you feel that way, then I will apologize for that, but no way that I would direct it to anybody, especially on this board. I have no reason to. And so if you feel threatened by that, then that speaks to a different, probably more cultural. But it was not a threat. I just simply sat here and was trying to, articulate the point, and really about the broader discourse that was out there about the firm. And it wasn't directed to you. It was to the audience. That's what that was about. But I duly noted, in case you got, I know I can be impassioned articulation, as Commissioner Moker used to always say about me, but it wasn't a threat, it wasn't anger, it's just, I'll meet you where you are. So I yield, Madam Chair. I just want to make sure I address that. There was no need for you to have to respond in case you thought that, Madam Chair. We're good. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you. We're going to move on to tab number 7, which is approval of an agreement with the Collaborative Firm LLC to continue education for the current transit system in the amount of $100,000, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Guider, you have the floor.
Ditto to everything I said on number 6.
Okay. Clerk, you have that for the record, ditto?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Any other discussion, board members? If there's no discussion, please cast your votes. We have a 4-1 vote, and the motion carries board. We're going to move to our consent agenda.
Madam Chair?
Vice Chair Robinson.
Yes. County Clerk, did you get my notice to pull the last item in the consent agenda out as a separate item?
Yes, sir, Chairman. Commissioner Robinson wanted to pull the last item on the agenda, on the consent agenda, number 13.
To be voted on separately?
Okay.
You okay with that?
Can I just,
Yes,
what I
yes,
do,
yes.
can I just do the consent and then, what do you need me on
No,
this
you
one
can
too?
roll. Do your
Okay.
consent. You can
The
do it that way.
consent is, we'll start with the consent agenda board. We'll start with tab number 8, approval of the project Rockwell's participation in the Douglas County Tax Incentive Plan, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents pending final legal review. Tab number 9 is approval of the Memorandum of Understanding, MOU, for e-filing with the Peach Court, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents subject to final legal review. Tab number 10, authorization to classify park security officers as public safety, to include approval to receive a 5% public safety increase in the total amount of $11,385.34 to be included in the budget revisions in April 22, retroactive from January 1st, 2022, as recommended by the Parks and Recreation Oversight Committee. Tab number 11 is authorization to purchase stream credits from Mulberry Creek LLC at a cost of $145,960 required for the Army Corps of Engineers permit for the Stewart Mills Road and Reynolds Road intersection improvement project, to be funded from the 2016 SPLOST funds allocated to the project, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. And finally, number 12, approval of a memorandum of agreement with GDOT for a permit to install roadway lighting at I-20 and Post Road, and authorize the chairman to sign all related documents. Board of Commissioners, that concludes our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion, board? We have a
Yes.
motion. Commissioner Guider.
Yes, ma'am. Chris Pumphrey, would you come up? Would you talk about item number 8 about Project Rockwell?
Yes, ma'am, we'll be happy to. Project Rockwell, as you all had the pleasure of meeting the two individuals representing the company yesterday. Project Rockwell is an advanced manufacturer that is locating off at the corner of Riverside and Thornton Road. They'll be locating a manufacturing facility and a division headquarters. I think we have on the incentive 87 jobs. I did mention yesterday they do anticipate that being well over 100 jobs, paying $36 an hour, which is roughly $14 an hour above our county average wage, and with an investment of $41 million. So a great corporation that we were able to win here to Douglas County. That project, as we ran our loci analysis, will have a benefit over the 10-year period of $3.8 million, kind of the net present value once you take in all costs associated with new students and everything is roughly $2.6 million. That is the benefit to the community while still being on the property tax incentive.
Okay. I just wanted you to tell the citizens.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
No problem.
Did you tell how many jobs it was going to bring?
Yeah, 87.
87.
Mhm. They do anticipate that in growing to over 100, but they're
At $26 an hour.
36.
36?
Mhm,
Oh,
36, yes.
good paying jobs.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Executive Director Chris Pumphrey, and we were one of the states out of 3 that was selected in the United States, so that's huge for Douglas County. Or should I say one of the counties, but really one of the states, Georgia, and I think it was Tennessee and South Carolina in the run-ins, and we kicked a field goal and made it in, so thank you. Okay, Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second on the table or the floor. We have a motion and a second. Please prepare to cast your votes for this consent agenda.
We can do the electronic vote with the consent agenda
Oh,
minus
okay.
number.
We have a motion and a second, Board. All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand.
So we can? Let's just do hands.
All in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand of the consent agenda.
Yes.
We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. So,
Madam Chair, real quick.
yes.
I wanted to wait till the vote go forth regarding Project Rockwell, but I think, Chris, I think an applaud and a hand clap is necessary. Do y'all know how big this project is? Do y'all know this? I mean, it got lost sometimes in the scheme of things, but to our partners and that are participating in this, and perhaps they're looking at this if they're not here in person, we want to thank you guys for picking Douglas County. It's a major headquarters, a major, a divisional headquarters, as they call it. But it's important. Not in Germany. They picked Douglas. Chris, they talked about you and Breezy. You guys were stellar. And I appreciate you, what you do, man. You've been, look, I'm pretty much built out. I'm biased, obviously, because it's in District 2, but nonetheless, I'm just saying, excellent. You fulfilled the sectors that you committed to when you came on board. You've worked it. Yes, it's been hard. Yeah, it does what it does. That's the nature of it. But nonetheless, Madam Chair, some kind of way, hopefully the Sentinel will pick this up, or some kind of way we get, if they come to town, we can really celebrate them the right way, guys. Like we did Switch, like we've done Google in times past. We letting this one slip right now. And I think sometimes we get caught off task. We get off on what I call, the shiny objects and stuff, but I think sometimes we got to take pause and celebrate what should be celebrated. But I'll yield to you, Madam Chair, and the full board on how you want to handle this. But this was a big deal. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you.
We'll definitely work to coordinate a public announcement for the project. And then just a slight plug, we are hosting the Chamber Luncheon tomorrow. And so this will be a great opportunity to also, we're sharing out our annual report. So that'll be available for everyone tomorrow. It'll also be available in a digital format on our website. And then we're going to be kind of telling the development evolution to the community. So going from east all the way to west. So hopefully you all can make it tomorrow, and we'll look forward to seeing you there. And thank you for your support for this project.
Absolutely. Thank you, Chris.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Vice Chair. We're going to move on. We pulled an item off, which was tab number 13, and converted it to a business item. Board of Commissioners, tab number 13 as our business item is authorization to seek request for proposal for federal funding
grants that we get from the federal government.
Is a matter payment.
Did you come?
It'll be quick. I just wanted to give her a highlight. Perspective. This is not an inquiry. What are your thoughts on, you understand what we're trying to accomplish here? You want to weigh in on any way?
Yes.
Understanding the assignment, what you're going to go do?
Yes, I understand the assignment. So as indicated on the particular list, we are going to set out an RFP for grant administration services. That way we'll have a bird's eye view of all of the grants across the county, and we will be able to answer questions quickly and efficiently based upon the data and the management of the particular grant. So right now we don't have that comprehensively. Sometimes it takes us a little longer. We have to go to different departments and ask a lot of questions. So in this particular role, we anticipate someone who will be knowledgeable, use the tools that we set out to purchase as well as just administer, and they will be working with our current grants manager in that capacity.
Awesome. So you understand it. Again, this just authorizes you to move forward. So probably in a couple of weeks, you'll have the RFP written up and ready to go into the air?
In a couple of weeks, I will have the RFP written up for you to review and approve.
All right. So it doesn't have to come back before us. That's what we're doing now, right, Madam Chair? Do we need to put it? I mean, I'm not trying to bind you. I know you're new
Okay.
as far as the date certain, but y'all want to weigh in to clarify? I thought this is what this was. We're authorizing you to do it. And our job is just to appropriate and authorize. So y'all implement on y'all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much, Commissioner Robinson.
All right. And so, all right, my last point was that, okay, there's a difference, though, between funding administrator and program management. That's where I started with all this. Now, we sort of turned sideways, talking about the grants, and I know that's a key part as well. But it's really about oversight of projects in general within the county proper, our administration. And so I want to amend this to include for you also, because what I started with back in my transportation, everything was on-demand consultants for program management. This has turned out to become a single RFP for a single task. Now let it go. I'll support the will of the board, and we did need it. We got too many projects and no project management skill sets in this county. Right? I mean, that's why we outsource SPLOS. So I mean, I've got ARP sitting there. I mean, if we talk about re-upping whatever funding source we choose to do and put on a referendum, how are you going to manage all this? So, Madam Chair, what I'd like to amend is, again, one more time, program management. Who's going to be accountable? I appreciate the directors. I mean, they say, well, they should be able to do it. No, they don't. They're in their kingdoms. They're in their worlds. They don't do cross-discipline. They talk, but it's not any of you in private sector. If y'all looked at how we deliver projects in here, it's non-existent. So this is not an indictment. We're saying we're going to give you the tools and the skill sets to do better. But at the same point, if we don't, then we got risk. You know, I can talk about our transportation center. Hopefully my board of commissioners all got the report from Tim Evans, which is our auditor. Oh boy, it was glaring. Well, his points, what he called observations, just on that one project alone. A federal project. It was like, woo. Not that I need an affirmation or validation of my point. I don't need to have sight to be able to have insight. And he killed it. He said, 8 points. You know, anybody home, anybody running, and nobody has a single view, not only just of information, but just ownership of stuff. Madam Chair, your staff does a great job delivering services for the people. We got it. They do that all day long. When we talk about projects, which are one-time initiatives that come and go, we're not built that way. So all we're trying to do is enhance it by bringing in experts. They're not looking for a job. Ain't that right, Deputy Administrator? We said this is not a job. It's just to come in for an assignment and go in and go out, right?
Correct.
All right. Madam Chair, so I'd like to amend this to also include giving her authority to come up with an RFQ for on-demand program management, which is what we started. She has to still come back to us, but I just want that to be authorized at the same time. I yield.
Okay. Do we need to call a motion to amend, or
Yeah.
we just, okay? Board of Commissioners.
Well, you haven't called the question, so you can say it now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to amend tab number 13 and add program manager? Is that what you wanted? Program manager.
Madam Chair, can I take it for you?
You got it.
All right. I'd like to put forth a motion to authorize the administration to move forward with the RFP for the funding, the grant funding administrator, as well as on-demand program management.
On demand, okay. We have a motion. Do we have a second? Do we have a second? Motion.
Second.
Okay.
We can get into discussion.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I have a question.
Okay, Commissioner Carthen asked first, and then you, Commissioner Biden.
So I think that's a great amendment proposed to this. However, both of these would require funding. And so with the federal funding, I am assuming, Deputy County Administrator, the federal funding will come out of what we've already allocated?
Yes, so there is some funding set aside in our ARPA list for program management, I believe, for the ARPA portion of it.
For the
yes.
ARPA portion. And what about for the federal grant administrator?
I would think that under any of these IJJA grants, there would be some options for that as well.
Okay, so we really need to understand that if we amend this, where the appropriations are coming from, because our biggest pain point, and as most citizens know, it is funding. And so I just want to make sure that we have our appropriations right, so when this comes back before us, we're not scrambling to know where this is to come from. We want to make sure that we have the funding set aside. And so if we need to revisit that ARPA just to make sure that these two positions are in there, then I'm hoping, you know, you and Director Perry can do that, so that we'll have accurate information when Ms. Amons comes back to us with the RFP.
Yes, we will make sure to look
Okay.
at that and get a report to Ms. Ames.
Thank you. With that, Madam Chair, you.
Okay, Commissioner Guider, you have the floor.
I just want to clarify something. Program manager for the ARPA funds, is that what you're talking about? I can't hear y'all down here with the mask on and everything. So I'm asking, the program manager, what will they manage and
Okay.
oversee?
Commissioner Robinson, could you take that?
Yes, I'll respond. Madam Guider, the conversation regarding program management was just like our engineers. It's a list of qualified people that can either do federal, state, or county, such as SPLOST projects.
SPLOST or ARPA?
I said federal, state, or local, and I just said SPLOST as an example,
Okay.
like Moreland, Russell, just an example. Right, we need a list of people who can do this. And yes, these federal projects, they have an administrative overhead component associated with them. I advocated and the board approved $400,000 for program management. The funding administrator just came to the side. I get it, it's both. We have a need. How are you going to deliver this? Look, listen to what we're saying. We're taking down all this money. We have no capacity to deliver it. You're doing a great job, Jill. Y'all going to get it. But who's going to deliver it? And survive the audit. And survive the things that so that was the whole point of why we're doing this, to have skill sets on demand, guys, because we're still sitting here. Y'all know y'all bleeding off this ARP list. And I still have not seen a scope list on any project. Not one. Not one. And I want the same discipline that we had over there on that SPLOST on these other things. And SPLOST, again, we got some huge stuff coming down that we're saying that we want to get, but we're reacting. And we're asking the right questions, but the federal money, all that, it funds itself. That's what allows you to set aside, 10% for administration and overhead. They know that you can't do this by yourself. They know that your skill sets within normal governments can't do it. That's why they allow you to fund and bring in experts to help. I think the goal here is just to sort of, guys, we just want to set in motion and get some talent at least teed up. This is not a commitment yet. It's on-demand list. She'll have 4 or 5 people either at the S class, E class, C class, either federal, state, local. I don't know what's going to come in. They're going to respond. And there'll be a vetting. She'll take us through. I want to see what her new vetting process is, and she'll clean it all up. And we'll have a list, just like standby engineers, just like standby, we got everything else. But you got too many projects that y'all are trying to go get. Y'all are all excited about, like, let's go get these grants, let's go get it. Now, how you going to deliver them? That DDS, transportation. I can go down the list of stuff that, like, guys, we ain't got no attention on this stuff. And I just want to try to encourage, but the question that's being asked is how do we fund it? It should be self-funding. Director Valentine, didn't you say that we had some funding left over in PAYGO? Where's Director Valentine? Please. Come on down, last point, I'll yield. You want to get out of here? Director Valentine, since you and I started this conversation, I guess we'll finish it. Please clarify for the board, just be succinct about, the need for the funding, the need for the separation of the two, recognize them, but also the funding source potential that we got on the books, please.
Yes, I'd be happy to, Commissioner. Good evening, Commissioners, Madam Chair. The discussion really centered around what options were available for funding this endeavor, and the question came up, is there the potential for funding this out of SPLOST funds? Are there sufficient liquid funds, pay-go money, available out of SPLOST? And the response would be yes. It has not been currently, or up to now, allocated for this project. But if it is the will of the board to do that, then the funding would be liquid and could be allocated to the project.
Right, that was also, we did talk about this in transportation. We like to have several options and conversations as we come to the board. And so to that point, Madam McCarthy, there were considerations, but it wasn't to obligate the board at this point to funding source. It was simply that we know we have options, but first things first, let's get the talent in here. Let's look at the pool, and you basically look at the people and say, we don't even want to do that now. I don't like the quality of these people like we've done on certain positions. So you know how it works. So it's not to obligate you, but it's just to set in motion, just to authorize them to move. And then they'll come back to us with another decision point. Madam Chair, I think I've sufficiently answered everybody. I yield.
Okay. Board of Commissioners, we have a motion and a second on the
Madam
floor.
Chair,
We have
just one quick question.
Commissioner Mitchell, you have the floor.
Tiffany, and so the funding, if I heard correctly, the funding is through SPLOST and or the opera funds, correct?
That's correct. The funding that we would be using for the federal funding administrator would be from like federal funds that we receive. So not necessarily from SPLOST, but from federal funding.
And those fundings, and that person will be an employee of the county working in that capacity, correct?
I think we're going to use them. I don't think they're going to be an employee. They're going to be just on-demand consultants.
Right. Okay, I got you. I just want to kind of make sure we say that for the record.
Yes,
So this is
gotcha.
just not an employee of the county.
Understand.
They'll be working based on the funding source over the need.
That is correct,
Right.
Commissioner.
So to include the program manager that was just mentioned about as well.
Yes, the program manager, I would have to get clarification on the program manager. I think that might be an employee.
No.
Okay, no, sorry.
Deputy
I
Administrator,
apologize.
weigh in.
I apologize.
We just said that.
For my assumption.
No employee.
Okay, no
Says
employee.
on-demand contract services.
Yes.
That's correct.
Contract.
Contractor service.
Yes.
And thank you, and I
Thank
appreciate that. So I just wanted to say that and hear that for the general public, so we make sure that kind of how this is being funded, where it's being funded, and it'll be based on projects,
That's correct.
specific.
Yes.
And that's where we're going to be seeking the request for proposals,
Yes.
to find that individual for that particular need source, and that's kind of how we'll move in that particular vein, correct? Okay, thank you very much, and I yield.
Okay. We have a motion and a second on the floor. We have a motion and a second. Please indicate we're going with the manual vote. We have a motion and a second. All in,
Madam Chair, I think the first vote should be on the amendment,
Correct.
and if the amendment is approved, you can vote on the motion as amended or
okay.
not.
Okay, Board of Commissioners. Do we have a motion to accept the amendment as discussed for adding the program manager? Do we have a motion? And I believe we have a motion and a second on the floor, so we have a motion and a second for the amendment. If you're in favor of the amendment, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. Okay, Board of Commissioners, do we have a motion to authorize the seek request for proposal for federal funding grant administrator plus a program manager. Do we have a motion to, program manager consultant, do we have a motion to approve on demand? Okay, do we have a second? Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? We have a motion and a second, and all in favor, please indicate by raising your right hand. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote, and the motion carries. All right, Board of Commissioners, we're going to move on to our approval of our expenses. Board of Commissioners, you've had an opportunity to review your expenses. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? There's no discussion. Please prepare to cast your votes. We have a 5-0 unanimous vote and the motion carries. All right, Board of Commissioners, we're going to move on to our announcements. Do you have any individual announcements tonight regarding your districts, Board of Commissioners, before I yield to our own Communications Director, Rick Martin? Okay. If none, Rick, would you please come forth? Rick Martin. And if you could just highlight Elena Myers as well, who represented that very well in the Olympics the other night, if you could.
Yes, ma'am. Sure. Good evening again, Madam Chair, Board of Commissioners, Deputy County Administrator Perry, staff. Regarding homegrown hero, Elena Myers-Taylor, she's going to be bringing back the silver that she won in the women's monobod competition at the Olympics in Beijing. It's the first time the monobod sport occurred, and she won. She came in second behind another American, and it's exciting, opportunity for her, and she has another chance again as she competes again. So, major kudos to Elena Myers-Taylor. Other announcements to make. Our very own Vice Chair, District 2, Commissioner Robinson, is hosting a free pet vaccination drive on February 22nd from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday.
February 26th.
February 26th. I apologize. I don't even know what I said.
22nd.
Forgive me. February 26th from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Douglas County Animal Shelter. And that's on Mack Road at 2171, just near Derelict Park. Again, this is for District 2 residents at the Animal Shelter on February 26th. Douglas County as a whole celebrates African American culture and community. On Thursday, February 24th, a special program will air at 7 p.m. on our Douglas County Happenings Facebook page, DCTV 23 Facebook page, DCTV 23 YouTube page as well, and Channel 23 for Comcast customers. The formal swearing in of Douglas County Fire Chief Roderick B. Jolivet will be occurring on Thursday, February 17th at 12 noon. A live video of the event will be streamed on the Douglas County Happenings Facebook page, DCTV 23's Facebook page, as well as our YouTube page. That concludes this evening's announcements. Madam Chair, I yield back to you.
Thank you so much, Director of Communications, Rick Martin, and we really appreciate your just delivering those words for us tonight and just inspiring our county about Elena Myers and also providing announcements. Board of Commissioners, certainly.
Just one small correction. The free pet vaccination is not strictly for just District 1, just it's for all of Douglas Countyans who would like to come and be a part of that event, I would assume. But I don't think it's just for just District 1 on this fundraising event.
Right, I agree.
Okay.
It's not just for, I believe you said District 2, but it's for.
District 2, I'm sorry, District 2, right, I'm sorry, not District 2 only,
Right, it's for the whole county.
Yes, that's
Entire
my
county.
apologies. So my correction, it's for the entire county, not just District 2. That was going to be my announcement, but I'm done.
Okay, just wanted.
Let me get clarity on this, because that's not what staff told me on what this was. Now, my understanding is that we have a new director of the animal shelter that is designed to go into each commission district and try to do something special for their respective districts.
Oh, okay.
All right, so this is now, of course, it's open to people,